Okay, I'm going to go ahead and on my end, it is recording.
Yep, we see that too.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And of course, we can use the chat if there's any questions or anything that, hello, Christy, Jesse. I'm so sorry, Jesse. Jesse joined me this morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there. But anyway, as people join us, then we'll just get them in here. I am excited for the Zoom call. There was a couple things I was trying, but they didn't quite work out the way I was hoping it would work out. So hopefully the recording will do the job for those that are not able to actually get on a Zoom call. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And as I started to mention, if there's something, feel free to talk and ask questions. I'm going to turn this over to Carol in a minute, and she's going to kind of talk about, I think you're going to go with expenses first, as far as how to handle expenses. Or anyway, I'll turn it over to Carol. But if you, just jump in there, ask questions, that's what this is for. You can also use the chat to type in something there, and we will keep an eye on this. In order to keep it free, we need to keep it under 45 minutes, and if we feel like there just is a need for more information, we can always create another Zoom and go on from there. So hope you guys are doing great tonight, and I'm just glad to see all your faces. So anyway, Carol is from the Chicago area, and I'm going to turn it over to Carol.
All right, Nanette, thank you. And thank you for just making all of this happen. Nanette has driven this completely. I did open up the Zoom group chat, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in there and we can watch that. Sorry about that, you guys. I have to get comfortable. This whole call kind of started as I think many of us had an aha moment at the university, which was budget. Like, I bet most of us have them at our home, right? We know what bills we have. We know what our income is. We know what our expenses is. And that's really where this generated from. So I don't know if you had an opportunity, but I did put out within our Facebook group an expense spreadsheet that I use. There are many on top. But my accountant and I have spent a lot of time on expenses. And then this whole budget thing, like I was almost embarrassed because I have envelopes. Like I really budget at home. So now here's the tricky part. So we may be talking conceptual today because I can share my screen. Okay. So before we go into budget, I think what I did is when I came back from university is I kind of reviewed my expenses, and we all have monthly expenses, and many of us have the same reoccurring monthly expenses. So even if we just go with our website, our internet bill, and our cell phone bill, like if we don't even do anything else, we know what that number is. Well, just to break even on those 3 items, we take that times 0.25, and we know what we have to sell to break even. And if you want to unmute and interrupt or ask for clarification, or yeah, Carol, you're on point. That's what we thought where this call was going to go. Please join in. But I think that was kind of the aha moment. So I'm going to share, I hope, in this spreadsheet. Let's see, how do I do this? Did I lose you guys?
No, we still can see you.
Do you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Funny, I don't even see my Zoom page.
It must be in your taskbar.
It's not. Do you now see a spreadsheet?
No.
Okay, so that was where we began, my problems began. I'm on the Zoom page. You can see me. Okay, can you see me now?
Yes.
You might see me twice. I went back into the meeting. I'm going to try and share my screen. And I apologize, you guys. I really thought that this expense sheet I had put into an Excel document on our page. So this is the expense worksheet that's provided to us on 31. I am going to have to go in and pull my girls. Just having a really hard time getting back to see you guys. So what I promise you is that I will get that into an Excel spreadsheet. And what I did, I just can't find it currently, is I tied that directly, and I'm not going to pull it back up because I'm having a hard time going back and forth. I'm sorry, Nanette.
These things happen. There we go. We lost you, Carol.
Uh-oh.
We lost Carol. There she is. Yay!
I'm back. And you guys, I just have to apologize. I had a pretty significant incident happen this week. And I really, and Nanette and I did not have an opportunity to practice that screen share. So one of the other things I wanted to talk to is I kind of wanted to bring it full circle. So I don't know if you guys do vendor shows. I don't know if you do donations. But when you think about budget, so I just recently did a trade show. And I have a spreadsheet for that too that's going to go out there when it's completed. So to me, before I repeat a trade show, right? Because we're very, in my area, if you connect with a promoter and you're successful at their event, you get the first opportunity to go back the next year whenever they're doing them. But sometimes those trade show fees can be pretty expensive. So once you've done it and you've got your mileage and your registration fee, you know what that total cost is. So again, you need to know what you need to sell in order to run a successful or profitable business. The only other piece that I wanted to speak to was inventory. How many of you guys, really, I want to know, how many of you guys have a spreadsheet of your inventory? You know exactly what's in your home right now. Awesome. When you have that sheet on your inventory, do you have a cost of goods column or do you have retail price on it?
I have retail and then what I end up selling it for.
Okay. What we need to do to truly be successful and to truly report our taxes correctly is we are supposed to have that as a cost of goods. So if we bought it at a special for $10 and we sell it at, hi Michelle, and we bought it at, we sell it for $20, that's a profit of $10. What you can do, and I want to be very clear because I spent a lot of time with my accountant. This is my third set of taxes with 31. My third year, and that budget thing still blew my mind. Like, you know, and it was the whole room. So I'm not even embarrassed to share it because that's where Nanette and I started, pulling this all together. So this year when I did my taxes, I had some old inventory. Just, some of the purple stuff, just
Yeah.
old. And
You
so
guys
I
go.
wrote that off as a loss to my business. That truly is your only cash and carry that you don't have to report. Once you write it off as a loss in your taxes, that's yours. And that really is the only cash we put in our pocket, so to say. I think the attitude is buy up the specials, take them to trade shows, sell them for a profit. You can do that, but technically, and this is just technically, I'm not judging or anything like that, your only cash and carry is what you do profit and loss. The other important factor, and this is really why the budget really hit me also, is I've taken a loss on my business the last couple of years. The IRS is going to start looking at that at a certain point in time. So I don't know how long everybody has been doing their taxes, and if you have consistently 6 years, Angela. How many
Yes,
years? How many
it'll
years have
be
you declared a
7.
profit?
Actually, probably my first year, and that's been it.
Okay, so my accountant this year, whether I make a profit or not, I will be showing a profit. I will not be deducting some of my expenses. I will be not, because I don't want the IRS to flag as a DS. And really, I'm watching the time too, Nanette. So here are the concepts: budget, expenses, inventory, and how you report that to have a successful business. Nanette, did I miss something?
No, that sounds good. I know from what you had initially posted in the group was all along this line, and as a follow-up to what we were learning at LU. So definitely bringing it home on this is good. Okay, is everyone able to hear me?
You've got a little bit of
You're
a
garbled.
garble,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep, I just had something come up saying my internet was unstable. So I got to figure out if there's some things that need to get turned off around here to kind of help with that. So I hope this is clearing up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Yes, Carol, I think you touched on some points, and certainly what you'll share, like you said, you're going to upload some more information, is really good with that. What I wanted to follow up with on what Carol was saying is we touched on this at Leadership University. I'm going to touch on it again. I'm a big proponent of having your 31 business be your business in its own, whether you have a checking account, its own credit card, debit card, so that everything you do, your in and out, is always going through that alone. It's so much easier to track all of your information that way. And you pay yourself through there, that type of thing. So I'm a big proponent of that. I don't think you have to go out and get a business account. I have an account through a credit union. I explained what I was doing, and they're just like, yeah, we'll just set it up in your name, and it's good. So I don't pay any fees for my, my checking account, my savings account, that type of thing. So that, is free on there. So I'm an advocate of that. It's so much easier to track everything. Another thing that I would encourage is make copies of your receipts. In this day and age, our receipts are on paper that breaks down fairly quickly and ink that disappears. And once you lose that receipt, you no longer have, there you go.
All my receipts go in this bag.
Good.
And I try to write on the top of the receipt what it was for: LU, conference, business meeting, business lunch, whatever. It all goes in this bag.
Good. So make copies.
I just the dollar store has these also. And, oh, yep, there's my monthly worksheet. And it's by month. And you can track your mileage and everything like that. So the last time the dollar store had them, I bought a bunch of them too. So $1 investment, right? That keeps everything in order. Good ideas. Great idea, Angela.
I have a monthly expense spreadsheet that calculates it all for me already that I can send to each of you. That I just type it all in and it automatically has each month's webpage and everything. So that stuff's automatically in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
That's awesome. That really helps out. I have something similar to what Carol has. I found a folder that has the pockets in it. And so I clip on the front anything that has not been recorded yet. And then once I record it, it goes into the appropriate monthly pocket. And so like, for example, here's February. So I have the February monthly special in there. Anything that I earned goes in there, receipts, that type of thing. And party information goes in there. So I keep this right in front of me and just clip things right away till I can record them and take care of them.
Can I interrupt for 1 minute, Annette? So a lot of us here on this call are tracking our expenses monthly, which is great on paper. If you look in the file section, I have an Excel document. So as you're writing it down, you can input it into the document. It'll do your totals at the end of the month. So really then in December, I mean, I know in my group, in my lineage, in January, there's just like all these questions. So I am now the book nerd. I'm the nerd. I'm the numbers nerd. It's what I do for a living, right? But if everybody's keeping track of those papers, when you start to record them, you can copy off that Excel spreadsheet that I put into the files, and you can put those numbers in every month. And I think somebody said they keep track of, like, they have a spreadsheet where they have their monthly subscriptions and their cell phone bills. Those columns are in the Excel spreadsheet too, if that works for you. If anybody has suggestions on those spreadsheets, but perhaps doesn't have the time to make changes, I'm so open to that, because I truly believe in this whole team effort. And it's really been my accountant and I that have created this as I started this business. So I've used Todd as references as far as categories, but know that I am just a really good, just a team player. So that is not the end all. That is what works for me. And I am certainly open to making changes if anybody would like me to, or, you know, just not everybody works with the Excel spreadsheet. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Sorry.
exactly. I find I'm still a paper girl. So it's comforting to me to still have paper. I don't know why, but
Print
Paper too.
Print month one.
uh-huh.
Use those columns, and then you're just taking your accountant 12 sheets of paper.
Exactly.
You've got your folder behind it. So when you go to your accountant, Angela, you've got your receipts, you've got 12 sheets of paper or an Excel spreadsheet. I total everything and I give her everything for the year. But Nanette, if you like paper, just print one page of that Excel, clip it to your book, and then when you go to the accountant, you take those 12 out, they'll punch it in, and then you have all your backup.
Yeah.
But budget, who else I want to hear from you guys. Did anybody else, like, did the budget piece anybody else go ahead and thought of it? That I've been tracking my expenses, but haven't paid attention to a budget? And has it made a change since Leadership University? How has it changed your business?
It's made me think a little bit more about what I spend my money on. And I love the part about the Hope email. You know, I still see a lot of consultants that send that out. And, you know, I felt guilty because I wasn't sending it to my hostesses. So that that helped me. And I'm going, I really don't have the money. I'm trying to make have a little money in my pocket. And I was spending it all on my hostesses, which is not a bad thing, but, but it's made me think a little bit more about what I'm spending on. So.
That's awesome. That's an area where I've saved immediately. So postage, we know twice a year, right? And maybe for our VIP customers, 4 times a year if we send them the winter and the summer booklet. But I too have done a lot more email, and I wasn't a big text. I didn't think that was personal enough. But you know what? My customers have been receptive to that, and that's free. We're already paying that with our cell phone bills. Great ideas, Angela.
Yeah.
Anyone else have an aha moment from the budget session, and anything you're doing differently? And was this call, because I'm watching the time, Nanette, you're so special to do this for us. We do want to know if it was helpful, and we kind of covered it conceptually. If you would like another one, and if you would, what areas would you like to see, and what would you like to see? And if I'm not the person or Nanette's not the person, we will work within the group to get the right person. So it doesn't have, whatever you feel like we could bring as a added benefit to you.
Exactly. Something that I ran into, and I was speaking with my director, is with something to be aware of as you're planning your paychecks. You know what your PV is, but with direct ships and marketplace, it changes how we used to always be able to do it. You used to be able to pull up your order history and say anything that was ordered within this time frame, because we couldn't do direct ships. And so I was like, something's wrong with my PV. And that's what we figured out, is that I was not keeping track of the marketplace that I did for the, I ordered the essential storage totes for 3 of them for summer prints. And I was like off. And so that's also something, when things change as far as how we're recording, we have to take an account for that. So now I have a sheet that writes right across something. If I ever order from Marketplace again, that's right in bold, so that I know I don't figure my commission off of that. So things change, and so we have to have some flexibility in that. And so, yeah, I like to know what my paycheck's going to be, and working with my budget for that. I don't know if
we had one question in the.
Okay, go ahead.
We had one question in the chat about personal use items. That's a purchase. I don't think we need to include that into our expenses at the end of the year. There are no stupid questions. So if it's a personal item, so personally for me, I'm thinking of my All About Benjamin Virtuous Verses. I bought it. I'm using it. It was a personal purchase. So that's how I look at it. If somebody wants me to, is not comfortable with that, I mean, I can check with my accountant, but that's, like I have.
But couldn't that be used for advertising? Couldn't that be used for advertising?
It could be.
Because
absolutely.
We're our biggest billboard, and you bought it to carry it as advertisement.
You are 100% right, and that's where I'm a little hurting today. I have done that, and that is a category in expenses. I would be careful with that. I'd be careful with that. The things that you're hanging in your home aren't, but yeah, an All About, actually I got a recruit just from an All About Benjamin. So if you have a piece, yeah, you're absolutely right, Angela. I think that's where we have to use judgment, right? There's no way. We are direct sales.
I wouldn't, not everything that, I necessarily carry or I use, like the double duty caddy I may have sitting on my desk, which I don't, but, to me, that wouldn't necessarily be, an advertisement, because it's sitting on my desk that nobody sees but me. but my purse that I'm carrying out and about, that to me is advertising.
I think that's true. And I think the essential storage totes that so many of us bought, it's inventory. We paid marketplace value for it. So that's the cost that you would report on your inventory. And yes, it can go for advertising. I think that's a great way to summarize it, Angela.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it in there from, if you have questions about what can be in the different categories, definitely ask an accountant or a tax attorney just to help you with that. There's definitely some red flags that the IRS looks at with direct sales. And they're going to be changing a little bit more with this year. It doesn't appear that there's terribly big change with it, but one of the biggest red flags is mileage. I will often hear people say, oh, I can write off my insurance, my car insurance, I can write all that stuff off. No, you can't. If your car is used for your personal, you just use your mileage for that. And one of the biggest things they want you to do is to write down your odometer reading at the starting point, your odometer reading at the end point, and say the locations of where you went. So I live 35 miles away from where I do my banking. So I would say this is my starting miles. I drove to 1006 State Street in St. John's and then came back. And that's what I write in my calendar. And I don't have an app, but there are several apps, phone apps that do mileage tracking, and that's really your choice on how you want to do it. I just use the memo section in my phone, and so until I can put that in my calendar. But mileage is a big thing. When you write on your taxes that you have it recorded, that's what they're looking for. And if anybody has all of, addresses and detailed odometer readings, they're like, okay, they're keeping details. And so that's a biggie for you. Mileage is a great write-off for us. And so I really encourage, if you haven't been pretty specific with mileage, let that be a step that you start being more specific with. Okay?
And if you, just so you know, if you, like some people have their advertising on their vehicle, so they say, okay, I can write it off. You better have business insurance on your car. So Nanette is so on track with that. Unless, you're paying more for insurance because it's a business, and, if it's just your personal car, only mileage. And if you want to write your car out as a business expense, then you need to get with your insurance agent. We have 9 minutes. Your insurance agent and your accountant, because.
But it depends on your insurance, because I had the sticker on my car and we contacted our insurance company and they told me that I did not need business insurance, but that I could still write it off on my income tax.
You wrote your mileage off, or you wrote your car off?
I wrote part of my car off and my mileage.
Oh,
really?
wow.
All right. So that is it. So I'm going to categorize that as a unique situation, and each person do your research with your accountant and your insurance agent. In Illinois, it's not like that. So.
Yeah, I would definitely say
live in
that's
Texas, so.
Okay, yeah, definitely a state by state. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things are different in Texas with your car. I can tell you that. My sisters are there. But I think the key is you said part of. So even with, like you said, you're carrying your purse, that's your advertising. If you're writing off $300 a month in advertising bags, that's going to red flag somebody.
Yes.
If you're, if you're writing off an $18 Studio 31 flap, that's not going to red flag something. But are you going to buy an entire new Studio 31 bag every month and write it off? No.
No.
And that's just the key, is it's part of and limiting those expenses. People even consider writing off rooms in your house, that kind of thing. But I've been told if it is not exclusively used for that purpose, you can't write it off. So you can write off part of your car because part of the time it's for business. Yeah. But I don't mess with the car in that. I don't want the red flags. I'd rather show that little bit of profit and hit a little on the taxes and mess with anything that's going to cause me to be audited.
Exactly. And once again, I'm going to send you back to just verify it, with a tax attorney or an accountant to help you with that, be able to walk through that, because those are definitely things that can red flag, as Heather said and Carol has said too. So I know we're looking at about 8 minutes left to keep this as a free. I'd love any of you jump in here, something that you've experienced, or if you have a question, maybe we can, try to figure it out and follow up on that, that type of thing. But definitely, this is your call. I hope that you have been able to pick up things or are reassured that what you're doing, the steps you're doing are good and that type of thing. So I'm going to turn it back over to you guys. See what you got.
Well, I know one of the things I've been wanting to get, I did a training in January with my team, and my director was supposed to upload the file, and I need to make sure she does that at some point. But she has a template that she does it on paper in a folder, like literally attached in a folder, but I think it can be done in Excel as well. But she keeps a party sheet on every party so that she can write, the hostess information, of course, how many attended, the party reached X amount of dollars, but also I gave away this prize, I gave away that prize, because those are the things I forget. I had a decent online party last week, and I know I gave away some stuff. I didn't write it down. So that's where I lack, is I don't track any of that. So I really want to get that from her. If I can, I will upload it, or maybe I'll just start creating my own. But I like the concept of keeping it either in a folder or even an Excel spreadsheet. Each tab is each party, if you're not the paper person. But that's one of my goals for budgeting, because I don't track any of that.
Yeah, that is so key. And that's interesting. That's good that you brought that up. This is my checklist, hostess checklist, and I have, just some different things I follow through. And this is where I will write what the level of my party was, if I gave anything away, that type of thing, right in there. And that way I'm able to go right back to it. It also helps me to stay connected to my hostess and to my customers by having a party sheet available. And so those are good. That's a good point. And it's something that is very helpful because if the party you had in January, by the time December rolls around, you're like, I think I gave this away.
Right.
But now we're going to do it every month, because we're going to pay attention to our budget instead of just our expenses, so that we all can improve how we run our businesses and be more successful. I mean,
right.
It's a great way, right? I mean, this is just, thanks everybody. Oh, that's our ding. I'm done. Thanks for sharing, everyone.
Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap us up, and we certainly can, once the recording is done on this, I will post it in the LU group tomorrow, and we can follow up with more information. Anything that we can share and upload to the files there in that group would be great. Tag one of us if somebody was looking for some information like that, just to help us out. So I am going to let you guys go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And like Carol said,
good to see you.
Annette, thanks for championing this for us.
Oh,
bye.
See you at the conference.
Yes, ladies. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
See you at conference. Bye.
Bye.